Hello YouTube, this is Magnolia Mo, and welcome to my channel where we discuss audio and video. A couple months ago I did a video on height speakers. 4 height speakers versus 6 height speakers, which is better in my opinion, right? And I showed you via some clips, how the sound moves and travels when you have 4 speakers versus 6 speakers. So in this video, we are going to talk about the different configurations. So let's say if you just bought a 9-channel receiver, which is capable of 7.2.2 or 5.2.4, and you're wondering which is the best setup, right? To get the best surround sound, Dolby Atmos, dtsx, or 3D sound possible. So let's find out. So I've been fortunate to have tried, all kinds of layouts, right? Five bed layers, 7 bed layers, 2 height speakers, 4 height speakers, 6 height speakers. But I was in a room where, like most of us, I was up against the back wall. And when Dolby Atmos, so I didn't have my back surrounds. I was just using the side surrounds, flanking my listening position. And then when Dolby Atmos and DTS came out, I had to try it out, right? So the only thing I could do at that point, because it didn't make sense to have the rear heights right over me. I mean, I could have used it as, I guess, top middle, but I never thought about that. So all I did was I did 2 front heights. I tried it that way, and then I tried the Dolby Atmos modules. It left a lot to be desired, because with the front heights you're just getting a larger perception, right, of your screen. The screen gets it's like a wall of sound, but there's really nothing going on back here. And then with the Dolby Atmos modules, there's a lot has been said about that already, so I'm not gonna go over as to why and why not it worked or why it worked, right? So the bottom line here is, if you have a 9-channel receiver, right, and you're starting to build out a home theater, where do you start, right? Do you go with 4 height speakers and go with the 5 bed layer speakers? I would say yes, that is the way to go if you're starting out, because at least you'll get your height speakers situated, right? So if you later on were to get an 11-channel processor or 13 or a 15-channel processor, you can always add your back surrounds. So before everybody gets all crazy here, I'm going to actually show you a clip or demo, 5-channel versus 7 bed layer channels, right? Are you actually losing sound, or if there was sound encoded there, are you getting it, or are you not getting it? Some people think that if you don't have back surrounds and in a Dolby Atmos system, you're just not going to hear what's there, right? I don't know. We'll find out. I'm going to show it to you. So before we jump to conclusions, right? So that's basically like what I think you should start off with is 5 base bed layer speakers and 4 height speakers, and I'm going to tell you why in more detail coming up. And then if you have a Windows PC, which I have connected to my home theater, you have the Dolby Atmos 7.1.4 channel check, and it includes the full Dolby Atmos 7.1 channel check and test patterns, right? So I'm going to run that through. I am also going to again shut off or not shut off, but take off the back surrounds. And once it pops up, all right, let's go, Marantz. There we go. So surround back, I'm going to take those out, and for demonstration purposes, let's see what happens to the sound check that's supposed to come from our back surrounds, right? And this is key to, for me in making a recommendation, right? So I want you guys to actually see this and follow along with me. So here we go.
Center. Right. Right surround. Right rear surround.
See that?
Left rear surround. Left surround. Left top rear. Left top front. Right top front. Right top rear. LFE. Left.
Okay, so I have a 7.1 speaker assignment sound check that's on Dread. It's a 11.1 Neo encoded disc, but it also has the DTS HD Master Audio 7.1 and 5.1 sound check, right? So for this particular demonstration, I do have the receiver is set to 5.1. I'm going to show you that in just a second, right there. So I actually took the surround backs out once it pops up. So as you can see, the surround backs are not there, and it's just your 5.2.4 setup. All right. So what I'm going to do now is run that sound check, and it's a 7.1 sound check, and essentially the sound for your right rear surround and your left rear surround is going to come from your right side and left side surrounds. Okay, so I'm gonna so my camera's going to follow the sound. Here we go.
Wants to breathe in.
I was trying to shock you out thinking about this.
Okay,
That's not good.
you're going to go to the right.
Incendiary.
Right.
Let's move it.
Right rear surround.
Choke on it, Dread.
Your left rear surround.
Armor piercing.
That's your left side surround. So for demo purposes, I used Gravity because to me Gravity has the most dynamic Atmos mix, right? You can literally basically follow Clooney or all the voices, all the action, in various different speakers, whether it's your bed layer speakers or your height speakers, right? So the scene that I picked, again, is the scene where Clooney is floating away into space. He is the true object that moves around, along with some some sound effects, some music effects that are going on in the height channels. I turned off my bed layer for this particular demo. So all we hear is depending on how many speakers I'm utilizing in the setup, you're just gonna hear the sound move around in your height channels, right? So the first one, just keeping my the 6 heights in play, right? Where I have my front height, top, middle, and rear height speakers. Then the second one, second demo is utilizing front height and rear height. The third demo is utilizing top front and top rear in ceiling configuration, so 4 speakers. And then the last demo is utilizing top middle. And really, I can tell you what you're gonna hear is in the first clip, which utilizes 6 height speakers. Clooney starts off in the left, top left corner of the room, top or rear left corner of the room, and his voice kind of travels to the middle of the room, utilizing the top middle top middle left, before scooting over to the rear height right speaker, that's where he's gonna, he's gonna be, and then goes to the front height, passing through the top middle goes to the front height, and then from front height goes back, to the rear height left speaker, right? So, and then there's music swirling around. So it's a truly like, true bubble that you're in, and you're actually utilizing your entire space front to back, right? And then the second demo uses just 4 height speakers, but this time it's the front and rear heights, right? So all the way up top on the wall, right below the ceiling, and in front and right. And in this particular case, because it's 4 speakers, he starts off in the rear height left speaker, but doesn't really move. I was expecting him to move slightly forward like he did in the 6-channel layout, 6 high speaker layout. Just stayed there and then scooted over to the rear right height speaker, and from there went to the front height right, back to the rear height left. Again, it was very good, very effective, because you're utilizing the full space as a larger 3D bubble. The third demo is with top front and top rear speakers using the in-ceiling configuration. And in this particular configuration, again, he will start. It's very similar to the last one, the front and the rear heights, except the rear of the room is fine. The front of the room, he doesn't really move that much forward, just in my opinion. So kind of floats over. So it is a true 3D bubble, by the way, right? Because he is over you in this scenario, right? Because the ceiling speakers are firing down on you. They're not in the front of the room, like in the front height situation. That's so take it for its worth. I did get more of a 3D, like encompassing me as a listener. I'm sitting and then I got everything going around me, type of a experience, right? In this case, very similar to the first scenario where I had 6 channels, right, of height speakers. It was a larger 3D bubble, which extended farther back and front, but I also heard stuff in the middle of the room as well, compared to the front height, rear height scenario where, again, it was also 3D, but it was much more extended front and back, and side to side. I don't know, in that scenario, maybe the screen is feeling larger than what it is, and it's more of a presence type of a thing versus a 3D bubble. Take it for what it's worth. And then finally, the last scenario utilizes just 2 middle speakers, right? Top middle, left and right speakers. I mean, that to me, this was clearly the least, not enjoyable, I would say. It's still enjoyable because you are getting height activity, you are getting Dolby Atmos, but not there is not a lot of movement, right? So he'll start in the left, Clooney, and then go to the right, and then go to the left, and then go to the right. So it's just moving above you, left and right. There is no front to back movement like it is in the other scenarios. Okay, so that's basically it for the demos. Here's my recommendation. I recommend setting up 5.2.4. Okay, you can do it with front heights, rear heights. As I mentioned, depends on the ability, right? Like, what can you do in your room? Sometimes it's just aesthetics, right? You don't want to drill holes, and put speakers up there, so you just stay in the front and all the way. So all the way to the front. I'm sorry, all the way to the ceiling, just below the ceiling, and you angle them, a little bit down, not completely down to the listening position. So you could do the front heights and rear heights, or you can do the top front and top rear in ceiling speakers, right? That would be the preference, because if you started with 7.2.2, you have your 2 middle speakers, right? Now you bought a 13 channel receiver or an 11 channel receiver, right? What are you going to do then, right? So now those two middle ones are kind of useless, right? Unless you get a 15 channel receiver or processor, right? So for that reason, expandability is not there. So in my opinion, you know, just start with the 4 in-ceiling speakers. You're gonna sacrifice on your surround back rears, but in certain cases, if you're up against the wall, the decision has been made for you, right? If you have space behind you, then you know you can always get, you know, if you're gonna expand to a receiver with more channels than 9, then you can always add the surround backs, right? It's much harder to do to kind of patch the holes and then redo the holes and you know in your ceilings than it is just to add the surround back. So that's my recommendation. All right. So in a nutshell, that was, you know, my experience with the 6, 4, and the 2 in-ceiling speakers, or not in-ceiling, but I should say, you know, height speakers in my system. So that was my recommendation. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please don't forget, as usual, to like, subscribe, and share this video, and hit that bell notification so you are notified of my upcoming videos from me. Until next time.
That's where you want to go. You're getting lightheaded, right? That's because you're breathing CO2. You're losing consciousness. You need to board the station. That second Soyuz is too damaged for re-entry, but it's perfectly fine for a little Sunday drive. Look to the west. You see that dot in the distance? That's a Chinese station. You're going to take the Soyuz and you're going to cruise over there. Chinese lifeboat is a Shenzhou. It doesn't matter. Its re-entry protocol is identical to the Soyuz. You never flown the Soyuz either?
Alright, so that's how the setup was originally, which was with all 6 height speakers, and now I'm going to change it to, I'm going to remove the top middle and just use front height and rear height.
That's where you want to go.
Still starts back there.
You're getting lightheaded, right? That's because you're breathing CO2. You're losing consciousness. You need to board the station. That second Soyuz is too damaged for re-entry, but it's perfectly fine for a little Sunday drive.
Now it's up
To
front.
the west. You see that dot in the distance? That's a Chinese station. You're going to take the Soyuz and you're going to cruise over there. Chinese lifeboat is a Shenzhou. It doesn't matter. Its re-entry protocol is identical to the Soyuz. You never flown the Soyuz either? Well, you know. It's a simulator, that's what it's designed for.
Same scene with front top height and top rear height, so I'm using in-ceiling configuration.
That's where you want to go. You're getting lightheaded, right? That's because you're breathing CO2. You're losing consciousness. You need to board the station. That second Soyuz is too damaged for re-entry, but it's perfectly fine for a little Sunday drive. Look to the west. You see that dot in the distance? That's a Chinese station. You're going to take the Soyuz and you're going to cruise over there. Chinese lifeboat is a Shenzhou. It doesn't matter. Its re-entry protocol is identical to the Soyuz. You never flew flown the Soyuz either? Well, you know. It's a simulator, that's what it's designed for. You point the damn thing at Earth. It's not rocket science. By this time tomorrow, you're gonna be back with a story to tell.
Alright, so now I'm going to switch the configuration to top middle. As opposed to the top and rear front ceiling speakers, right? Just gonna go with the top middle and see how the sound pans out in this situation. Alright, just the top middles.
Good. That's where you want to go. You're getting lightheaded, right? That's because you're breathing CO2. You're losing consciousness. You need to board the station. That second Soyuz is too damaged for re-entry, but it's perfectly fine for a little Sunday drive. Look to the west. You see that dot in the distance? That's a Chinese station. You're going to take the Soyuz and you're going to cruise over there. Chinese lifeboat is a Shenzhou. It doesn't matter. Its re-entry protocol is identical to the Soyuz. You never flown the Soyuz either? Well, you know. It's a simulator, that's what it's designed for.